everyone, and welcome to episode 19 of Just Lying Around, a Detroit Lions podcast presented by the World of Football. I'm your host, Kyle Sutherland, and I am joined by my co-host and brother-in-law, Adam Snow. Adam, I don't know about you, but this is a game. First quarter, I was so upset I had to pause it, do a little house cleaning, come back, suffer through the rest of the game, and I thought it was going to go better after second quarter, but it didn't. So, yeah, how are you doing?
I'm going to tell you, Dad was over here watching the game, and it went about the way we thought it was going to end up going. I know we picked the Lions to win in the weekly picks video. I think you picked the Bears, actually, didn't you? You actually went and picked the Bears.
Yes,
you were that.
I did.
Yep. So you got that one right. But
Because
this was a game I kind of figured Detroit could lose, and it wouldn't have surprised me. It was just, it's always when Detroit seems like they got a handle on things because it didn't start off great. We'll get into it, but yeah, this we'll talk about. There are definitely some things that I think the Lions need to start addressing and start looking towards the future, because I'm telling you right now, this is not a Super Bowl team. Might not even be a playoff team.
Well, let's worry about maybe winning the NFC North now.
This ain't even a team that I think could win the NFC North now. Like, nah.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Today's show, we're going to go over the Lions' Week 14 loss against the Chicago Bears, then look ahead at the Week 15 game against the Denver Broncos. But first, we want to thank you for checking out our podcast, whether that's on the YouTube channel or on your podcast platform of choice. You can find the World of Football and its many offerings on multiple social media platforms. Just check down in the description. We also have timestamps if you choose to jump around to various topics that we discuss as well. And now let's get on to this loss against the Bears, which I kind of knew was maybe going to happen today. So we got the Lions 13, Bears 28. Lions scored 13 in the second quarter and seemed to be the third quarter slump carried into the fourth and ended the game that way. So, it was not good.
No.
How about we jump into stats real quick, and then we'll discuss what we saw during this game. So we had Jared Goff, 20 of 35 for 161 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and 1 fumble. David Montgomery, 10 carries, 3 receptions for 85 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs had 11 carries, 3 receptions, 82 yards total, and 1 touchdown. And Josh Reynolds, 3 receptions, 44 yards, and 1 touchdown. For the Bears side, we had Justin Fields, 19 of 33 for 223 yards, 1 touchdown, and 12 carries for 58 yards and 1 touchdown. Cole Kmet, 5 receptions for 66 yards. DJ Moore, 6 receptions, 3 carries for a total of 88 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Deontay Foreman had 11 carries, 2 receptions for a total of 72 yards. And total yards, Lions 267, Bears 336 yards. And last but not least, time of possession, Lions with 26 minutes, 41 seconds, and Bears with 33 minutes and 19 yards. So, after the review of the stats here, you can tell that Justin Fields had a day, and Lions, Goff, offensive line, kind of had a rough day. Now, we'll jump into the first quarter here. Sloppy first quarter by the Lions. Multiple flags on the Lions. Anzalone, I don't know what he was doing to begin with. A couple penalties on him. A couple bad penalties at that, too. Ultimately ended with a Bears trick play to DJ Moore for a touchdown, and Lions having a hard time just tackling Fields, running out of the backfield. So, yeah.
Yeah, that first quarter, they went right down the field and scored a touchdown. And right off the bat, I said it was evident right there, just seeing the way the defense was playing, the dumb penalties, and it was very evident to me from the beginning. I know we've been kind of toying with it the last few weeks, but I'm officially in the camp of it is time, or at least in the offseason, it will be time to move on from Aaron Glenn. You can't start off a game like that. You can't open up just letting them walk all over you. I get it. Sometimes that happens, but just the consistency that this defense lets teams move down the field on them now is absurd. And while I'll give him a little credit because I like Aaron Glenn as a person. But coaching wise, I do feel like he did make adjustments eventually. We'll talk about that as we go into the second quarter, third quarter, fourth. But you can't keep doing this. And Aaron Glenn is clearly not the defensive guru we need. I think it's time for them to move on from him. And that first drive alone was enough to make me go, that I'm done. Like, I'm done watching this team play this bad. I have no faith in this defense anymore. The penalties, unbelievable. Anzalone with a late hit out of bounds. You got to be more heads up than that. You'd think that being a captain, he'd be a little more heads up about that. And granted, even in that moment, I thought that was a little touchy. I feel like they could have let that one slide, but they didn't. And I'm not going to blame this game on the refs. The refs are down the list in who to blame for this game. But I think first and foremost, it's going to start right now. Aaron Glenn and that defense. And we'll get to the other ones as we go along.
Yeah, I feel like teams have kind of figured out the lines, because the Chicago Bears won that coin flip, and you know what? They decided to take that ball first, and they knew that with the last couple of games as well, the other team knew if we scored first, it just feels like Lions are on their back foot, like in panic mode, not sticking to the game plan that they should be doing is let's run the ball. We got Jahmyr Gibbs, who posted on Facebook, was averaging 9.3 yards a carry. And then you got Montgomery, who's slipping tackles left and right. I don't know if they're just, oh man, we can't run with these guys because we're going to waste too much time. So let's have Goff throw it. Not get him into a rhythm, not set that running attack like it should be. That way Goff can go into the play action pass like
Let's
needs
save
to
that whole thing right there. Save that for the third quarter. That is the crux of my frustration. So we'll keep talking about that, but when we get to the third quarter, because I am in agreement with you about some of that. Practically all of it.
So yeah, I feel like if the Lions from now on, if they win a coin flip, they need to get the ball first. They can't stop any team.
They did that last week. They got the ball first, and look what they did. Clearly they went up 21-0, but they got to start thinking about it. But you're going to make me jump ahead. I don't want to have to jump ahead, but their bugaboo is the third quarter, and they keep opting to take the ball to start the second half, and they have done absolute bupkis with it. Absolutely nothing with it. Okay, we're going to talk about second quarter. The Lions scored all 13 of their points. They looked great. A completely different team in the second quarter today. They were running the ball, Gibbs and Montgomery. They were switching them up. They looked great. Like you were saying, averaging the 9.3 yards a carry. Laporta had a little bit of involvement, not as much as we would have liked, but they were moving the ball around. They were doing what they needed to do, and they looked so much better in that second quarter. They looked buttoned up, and they looked like they had settled in. And I don't know if you want to say anything else about the second quarter, but there's not much else to say about the second quarter other than they finally put their stuff together. Third quarter comes rolling around, and we're saying they have to come out.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Let me talk about the second quarter.
Hurry up. Get in there then. Jump in.
Second quarter, even on the defense side, you could see the defensive line switching people around like Hutchinson was on the inside. They forced 3 sacks on the field, and it looked like they kind of figured out the defense. But yeah, let's just jump into the third quarter then.
No, okay, now you got me. There's something else I want to add to the second quarter real quick, and then we'll move on. But so, yes, they figured out some stuff on defense in the second quarter, but I also want to, and I'm not letting the defense off the hook because it is also on Chicago's offensive play calling. There were a few times where I was like, why is Chicago getting away from what works for them? I'm not going to lie to you. Even as the Lions fan, I'm like, Chicago was their own worst enemy at times. Like that fourth down stop Detroit had, that's on Chicago. What a crappy play call that was. That's on them. That's what shifted the momentum towards Detroit in the second quarter was that fourth down stop. And it just seemed like they got away from what was working. And I'm sorry, as a Lions fan, our weakness is running quarterbacks. And what did they stop doing? running Justin Fields to the outside, letting Justin Fields cook. Like, they just neutered him a little bit. They kept him in the pocket. It created sacks for Detroit, and that's where Chicago's biggest downfall was. And I'm not going to give the defense that much credit. Yes, they did what they had to. Hutchinson looked decent at times, and they got the pressure we wanted, but there was also some of that Chicago offensive play calling. So I'm not going to give Aaron Glenn and the defense too much credit. I'm going to put it on Eberflus because I think Eberflus is a joke of a coach. Yes, he won this game and should have beat us the last game too, but he's got some very dumb play calling decisions that would have cost him team this game and frankly cost them the last game against Detroit. But so third quarter. That being said, you're up 13-10. Momentum completely on your side. I turned to Dad and I said, this is the moment. You have to come out and you have to punch them in the mouth. You have to want to come out and put the ball down the field into the end zone. Maybe even go down and hit a field goal. Just show that you can move the ball down the field. 3 and outs. How do you open up the third quarter with 3 and outs? Let alone, then you get into the fourth quarter, halfway through the fourth quarter before you get your first down of the second half. Ben Johnson's play calling in the third quarter is absolutely anemic, and I don't understand it. You were talking earlier about, not giving Montgomery and Gibbs the ball. The first play in the second half was that pass Goff through that got, it was incomplete. So why are we throwing the ball on first down when the running was working? And the runs they tried to do were runs that wouldn't have worked earlier anyway. They were just running these terrible schemes and like, oh, let's try to run Gibbs up the middle now where all the guys are. Like, I get it, he was getting holes earlier, but he was working to the outside. Even Montgomery's runs were working when they were between the guard and the tackle, getting outside, not in between the guard and the center. Like, I don't know what they were doing. They got away from the run. They got away from getting ahead of the sticks. They kept finding themselves in a hole. They kept going backwards. It was like, okay, we're going to throw on first and second down. Well, gee, what are we doing on third down when it's 3rd and 11 and you threw 2 incomplete passes? We wasted 50 seconds on that first drive of the third quarter. 5-0, 50 seconds. They couldn't, 3 and out. Embarrassing. I don't get how this team comes out that flat. It bothers me. It's unbelievable. And Kyle, is it time to start now saying Jared Goff is no longer the quarterback of our future?
I think Jared Goff is working his way out of a contract extension right now with the way he's playing. He should have thrown at least 3 more interceptions this game.
He got bailed out. Yep.
Yeah, he had a couple that hit the defensive receivers or cornerbacks right in the chest, and they dropped it. Like, he got real lucky.
Granted, I don't think he's ever looked great playing in Chicago. The other 2 games he's played in Chicago, he has not looked great. Remember 2 years ago, he just had one of the worst games I have ever seen, ever. And then last year, obviously, we had the comeback win against them. But this year, it was the same as the first year. So it's like he's not an outdoor cold quarterback. And in the NFC North, you got to play in the elements. I know it's our last outdoor game of the season, and maybe that'll help us down the stretch. Maybe not. But to me, this exposed us for so many things. And it also goes to something I put out there on the internet, which who cares, but I'm going to say it right here, that all these issues that we've been complaining about the last few weeks, despite the big win against the Chargers, where we were slinging it, even against the comeback win against the Bears, in that loss to the Packers, even in that win against the Saints, all those issues we've been complaining about and said, this is going to bite us in the butt, Dan Campbell. This is going to bite us in the butt, Aaron Glenn. And they're just like, we're not worried about it. All that's outside talk. In this building, we aren't concerned about this at all. I guess that's my terrible Dan Campbell impression. That's when I'm upset at Dan Campbell, that's my impression of him. We're not scared. We're not concerned. You should be concerned, Dan. Look what just happened. You were completely exposed because you didn't feel like you had to address some of the stuff that we can see with our 2 eyes. It didn't pass the eyeball test, and we could see it. You got lucky with a couple of wins, and yes, this is the NFL where sometimes you get a few lucky wins, but to be consistent and to be a good team, you have to address it. And to Brad Holmes, Brad, if you're out there listening, which I know he's not, you totally whiffed on not bringing in a Montez Sweat, not bringing in a Chase Young for dropping a 3rd-round pick. Boy, wouldn't you have liked to have Montez Sweat out there with Aiden Hutchinson today? I'm sorry, he wasn't a culture fit. Well, it seems like he's working pretty good there in a crappy Chicago defense. Like, you know, think of what he could have been doing with Detroit with Aiden Hutchinson on the other side. Because
Yeah.
Montez Sweat's balling. Dude's a great player. I wish he was on my team right now, but culture. I get it. I want good culture on my team, but you also need playmakers, and that dude's a playmaker. So
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Their third round pick, Broderick Martin, like he's not even playing right now. And it sounds like they might cut him. Like it's surprising even Isaiah Buggs, like if he wasn't gonna play today, there's a chance he would have been cut today too. Like
and who's the guy they didn't put active this week? The guy who had the hit last week that got fined for hitting Carr. We like just
Irvin.
signed him. Yeah,
Irvin.
why wasn't he out there?
Yeah.
Inexplicably inactive, put on the practice squad again, whatever. Like, probably could have used that dude. Why isn't Jalen Reeves-Maben playing linebacker more? Dude's a heat-seeking missile. Dude's been
Yeah.
balling out of his mind. Where's he at? I'm sorry, I like Anzalone. I would have preferred Maben. Maben's at least got a nose for the football. I could have used him.
Like it was I think they brought Anzalone out for a play and brought Reeves Maben in, and like the play after that he got that quarterback hit. So I don't
I,
know.
I don't know what's going on. And for Aaron Glenn to still not shadow Justin Fields all game long, I don't give a crap if he's banged up, if he's healthy, if he's throwing ducks. I don't care. You have somebody. The fact that they leave a part of the field open with nobody covering him when he rolls out and he's got green grass, 3rd and 18, he's going to get the first down. It's happened too many times to count. I'm just sick of the way this defense is schemed, and and the other thing is I just don't think we have the players on defense. I'm going to say it. Other than Aiden Hutchinson, Anzalone, maybe Jack Campbell, who the hell else do we have on that defense that's worth anything? Sutton and Joseph have been playing like crap. I'm going to go out there and say they have been playing like
Yeah.
crap. The safeties,
Yeah, I think
I haven't heard Walker's name in a while. I don't even know who the other safety is out there. I can't even blame Will Harris. I haven't heard his name in weeks, so they're at least doing that right. I haven't heard Will Harris's name in 3 or 4 weeks. So I don't know. It's a combination of bad scheming, coaching, and the lack of talent on the defense for this Lions team. And then you got to throw some shade at the offense. Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell going with some dumb 4th down calls. I get wanting to go for 4th down in certain spots, but like the run call with Gibbs, what are we doing?
oh yeah.
You have the speed between Gibbs and Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and we are not using our speed to our advantage. We are totally neglecting our speed. And early in the game, we had that one reverse type play, jet sweep or whatever to Jamison, his only play of the game. Why are we throwing him
Yeah.
screens? Why aren't we getting him the ball? The dude's clearly fine. It's like the Lions are, again, playing down to their opponent, and it's like they're still holding their cards close to their vest, saying, oh, we don't want to show all of our real good plays till we play the real teams. Well, I'm sorry, you guys aren't going to get to play the real good teams in the playoffs if you keep playing like this and find yourself out of the playoffs when you're letting Minnesota, Chicago, and Green Bay sneak back up on you in a division you should have already had locked up. Done. It's infuriating.
You know, I thought I
See, I
was
thought
in
you were
that
going to come
one.
in hot. I came in hot. I thought I'd be the cool mannered one. Like I thought I'd be like this, but instead I'm coming in like this.
Yeah, I think Jerry Jacobs got benched for the Kindle Vildor today. Who was the
Yeah, I'm like,
ex
who's this guy? I'd
corner?
never heard of him before in my life.
Yeah, he used to play for Chicago. So I don't know. I feel like
Vildor
now's
sounds like
around.
one of the dwarfs from Lord of the Rings.
I feel like it's a little too late to try and still figuring out like this defense. Like it should have been locked up like 4 or 5 games ago. Instead, you're still switching people out left and right, trying to figure stuff out. So if they lose against Broncos next week at home, it's gonna be the social media is just gonna light a fire and burn the town down the way they're gonna act. So
Yeah, we'll get to Denver. What else about this game do you want to get off your chest before we move on to the Broncos?
uh, besides the third quarter slump, fourth quarter lifeless too. Goff had a bunch of bad throws, getting sacked left and right in the last quarter, and also receivers today just seemed to be dropping a lot of balls, so which also didn't help Goff any. But yeah,
Yeah.
if I was, I don't know, if I was the coach right now, third quarter coming out, I'd say we are going to run the ball, give it to Gibbs, give it to Montgomery, and we need to do something at the beginning of the third quarter. Like, stop throwing the darn ball second or third down. Like,
Stop
our
getting
first and
cute and
second down.
moving. Stop moving Penei Sewell in the middle of the play like you're doing some genius play. Like moving him from one side inside the line to the other was cool at first. Stop doing it. Stop getting too cute. Like, run to the outside. Do some, like, they have so many options with the run, with the two running backs they have, and even the fast receivers they have to do jet sweeps. Can we get a first down? How about that? Can we not go 3 and out to start a third quarter? Like, how about we start there, Mr. Ben Johnson? Like, it's infuriating. And I also want to say a little bit in Goff's defense. Banged up O-line with Glasgow playing center. They had that other guy now at guard taking over for Scoresdale.
Yeah, I
So
was sick.
that probably didn't help either. That didn't help. But Goff has got to just be a little better in the pocket. Get rid of it, Goff. Like, he holds on to it too long, and we're sitting there staring at a 4th and 29 at one point. Good Lord. Like, and then still that play that they threw before they got the 5 yards, a yard short of the sticks. You need 29, you throw for 28. What are we doing?
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think
It's
someone's
just terrible.
coaching head's going to be on the chopping block here soon.
I'm telling you, see ya, Aaron. If Aaron Glenn comes back next year, I'm going to question everything about Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, because up till now, I could get given him a third year. Year 4, I'm sorry. Move on. It's time to move on. Defense has got to improve. But I also want to quickly, before we move on, look, Chicago Bears fans, I think the Bears are clearly a better team than Detroit. We should have lost that other game. They clearly started figuring their stuff out. I still think Eberflus is a bad coach. So if you could upgrade your coach, Chicago, you'd probably be in a world of difference right there. Justin Fields is still a weapon that they just don't know how to, I think, exploit properly. He shows the big flashes, with some of those runs, but I still think he is not being used properly. But look, Chicago's the better team today. I'm not going to take too much away from them, other than I think some of their crappy offensive play calling hurt them in the long run. They got some decent players there on defense, Montez Sweat among them. So whatever, good job, Chicago.
Yeah, I think Bears are at a point to where we were last year when we started winning a bunch of those games. I think that's where they're at right now.
Them in Green Bay. Yep, them in Green Bay are pulling to Detroit right now. So
yeah. So Detroit.
That's why this division lead is not safe.
Like they're last year's Vikings. Like they're frauds, but if they start winning
Vikings. This might as well say Vikings, because that's how they're playing right now.
Yeah, if the Lions win the next couple
F.
games, yeah, the Lions lose a couple of their next games in a row. No, I mean it might be the talk here. Like, Lions, are they frauds? So we'll see.
I'm already saying we're frauds, but as we get into talking about Denver here, the Lions have yet, knock on wood, have yet to drop back-to-back games this season. That's the only confident thing I have going into that game right now. Otherwise, I'm scared going into Saturday's game.
Yep. So, yeah, let's just talk about next week's game. Lions versus Broncos are playing Saturday night. So that should be a game on December 16th at 8:15 p.m. So that crowd should be noisy. We got Broncos are playing the Chargers today at 4:25. I expect maybe the Broncos probably should win this game the way the Chargers are playing right now. That coach for the Charger needs to be fired. I don't know why he hasn't yet. So
I don't know. I'm gonna look up the score right now because we're recording while they're playing right now. Right now, the Broncos are up 7-0. I think they're about to start the second quarter. I'm not sure. It says quarter one, but clearly the NFL app. Yep, quarter. Nope. Yeah, the NFL app's goofing up, but it says 7-0 Broncos right now. So
Yeah. So for me, the biggest thing to worry about for this upcoming game is that Broncos defense and be on the lookout. I know Russell Wilson is not really a running quarterback, but when the time comes or the time needs, he can get out of the pocket and run for a couple yards here and there. But biggest thing for like receiver and running backs, Cortland Sutton, make sure we have Cameron Sutton and maybe safety on him as well. And also that running attack of Javonte Williams and their um, running back from Bengals last year. Make sure we do not allow these guys to run. So, I mean, if they can do that, which I feel like we've been calling stuff out week by week, hey, you need to look out for this, and they don't do it. And that's why they're either close games or losing games. So I don't know if the Lions coaching staff are looking at a blank wall when they're watching tape or what, but
yeah,
if it's obvious to us, it should be really obvious to them. So
it
we'll
should
see.
be. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I have no. This game is another one that could go either way. I mean, Denver. I don't know. They're a mystery to me, but I feel like we could stop their run. It's a matter of which version of Russell Wilson's going to show up, and can Jared Goff get back on track in the dome in Ford Field, where he's actually played pretty good, and I think that'll be an advantage for Detroit to hopefully get back on track. To get that lead in that division, but we'll see. My faith in Goff has gone down a little bit this week.
Yeah. Also, it'll be interesting. Dan Campbell's coach or head coach when he's assistant coach. Kind of a game between them now. So
Him and Sean Payton.
yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully Dan Campbell can figure some stuff out.
Yeah.
Eventually,
crossed.
maybe week 15, we're still trying to figure stuff out. But yeah. All right. You got anything else, Dad?
I really don't. We needed this therapy session. I'm starting to come down a little bit.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and close it out then. If you want to say your stuff here.
All right. I say my piece. Okay. Thank you, Father. We hope you enjoyed listening to today's show. Unfortunately, our Lions suck again. But we appreciate you checking us out. Be sure to visit the World of Football's website, theworldoffootball.com, for news, links, upcoming events, videos, and more original articles, all that. Also, if you want to get in touch with us, send us an email at info@theworldoffootball.com, or you can connect with us on one of our many social media platforms, including X, Instagram, and Facebook. Just use TWOF Kalamazoo and search and all that. You should be able to find us. We're also on YouTube. Obviously, you found us here on the YouTube channel. youtube.com/@theworldoffootball, or just look up the World of Football Kalamazoo. Be sure to follow our flagship podcast this week in the World of Football. I guess Kyle's computer crashed, so we'll see if this is even salvageable here at the end. But yeah, we appreciate you guys watching, and until next week, guys, go Lions.